Okay, Yellow Army, well, it's that time of the month again. It's time for episode 2 of Chairman's Chat. As you can see, I've got Mark Bowes-Cavanagh and Michael Westcott, the co-chairman of Torquay United, with me today. What a month it's been. If I can bring you in first of all, Michael.
An amazing start to our season, amazing start to, I guess, our custodianship of the club. And I think as we sit here today, I think we can feel reasonably satisfied. And I think, but what I would say is that we're by no means the finished article either, especially off the pitch. We've made great strides against our plan, but we've only just started. We've got a long way to go, but so far so good, and I think that would echo what Paul will probably tell you about what's happening on the pitch. That a good solid start, but by no means the finished article, and I think that's a vein that's running right through the football club now. That we've really raised the bar on standards. We're quite demanding in terms of what we expect, in terms of the way we deliver either the matchday experience or deliver on our commercial plan, in the same way that Neil and Paul make those same demands of the football operation.
Mark, do you echo those sentiments?
Yeah, many of those points I agree with. What I would say is, on and off the pitch, it's been an incredible start. Really impressed with current staff at Torquay United and how they've taken to the new ownership. Working with the trust, especially myself, working more with them, which I haven't really been doing over the past few months. That's been fantastic, and see the optimism of what's been going on with that. The community coming together, the crowds have been absolutely fantastic. And for me, the board coming together as they are, everyone's coming together. You know, me and Michael didn't really know each other that well before we did put the investment, but I think we're managing to find our feet on where we are and what parts of the business we can, help each other with. And then we talk about what's on the pitch and the management there. Neil, Paul, his management team have done an exceptional job. The magnetism they've got with the fans is fantastic. We expected that. That's why we brought Paul in. We've made a solid start. It's very difficult to tell in this league until we do sort of 15 games, etc. What I would say to all Torquay United supporters and the community and everyone who cares about this club is hold your head up high and be proud of where we started, and be proud and enjoy the moment. There's been a lot of down moments in this football club, and although we have to be pragmatic about the future, I did mention to you in my last chairman's chat about momentum. This club has massive momentum. Get on the back of it. No need to be negative about what's going on. There are going to be blips through the season. We could go 3 games where we lose, but be positive about it, and let's be proud of it, and let's be proud of where we are, and let's be positive about it. Let's not just try and string it down and, extinguish parts of that. Everything at this football club has changed, and I'm very, very proud of it, and I'm proud of all the people who've pulled in that direction. And at the moment, everything's absolutely fantastic.
Mark makes a good point that we talk about a squad of players that are gelling and taking time to gel. 21 players thrown together only sort of 8 weeks ago. But the same could be said for us as well. There's the 6 of us that, as Mark said, didn't know each other 4 months ago. Now we're a sort of band of brothers. We're completely aligned on both philosophically in terms of and how we see, how we've articulated the vision, how we're executing on that plan, and the team as well. We've introduced some new team members to the staff here, and so we're focused very much on. We've got a new chief exec. We've got now a new head of operations in Jess that's joined us. We brought some external help in to help set up new systems and processes here. We've reorganised ourselves in the way that we work, and that takes time too. So we said, I think when we were stood outside at the last chairman's chat, probably 7 or 8 weeks ago now, that this was a complete reset of the club, and from top to bottom, that's exactly what's happening. And are we if you plotted our progress on our kind of graph to to success, I'd say we're right on that line right now. And so I think that we are reasonably satisfied, but I think there's a philosophy running through this club that yes, we're satisfied. Can we do better? 100%. And we've just started, but so far, so smooth.
So the message at the moment seems to be very much like some people say, let's not look at the league table yet, but it sounds to be, look, we've got a long way to go, but hey, let's enjoy the moment. Is that right?
I think so. I think there's a lot of ups and downs in football, and as much as we need to be pragmatic about the position, we need to make teams be scared of coming here to Plainmoor. And I said to you in the last chairman's chat that I would love to be here at Christmas and be close to the top or near the top, playoff positions, etc., and make it a fortress. I think we might have seen that on Tuesday night against Chippenham. You know, we made it very, very difficult for them, and that's what I want this club to do. So I want to enjoy the moment. I want it to be fun. And when I see all the smiling face and I see so many people sending me Facebook messages and things like that about what they want to do and how they've come back to the club, I just want to make sure that, you know, yes, it is about what goes on the field, but we did say this was a community club. We did say we wanted to, you know, be proud of our club and in the community, and everyone's come together. You know my thoughts on this season. I think everyone knows that. So we have to be pragmatic, but we also have to enjoy it. You know, we're doing this for fun. We're doing this for a lot of people. And I want, you know, I'm glad to see the smile on the faces. One other point I would like to say as well, you know, on the back of the Dorking game and on the back of Chesham, I mean, the way Paul's used the squad and the players who stepped in, I mean, what a job. Absolutely incredible job. The players who've come in as well. We've had a few injuries, etc. So from that point of view, the depth has impressed me as well, which has been really good.
I'm sure all the Yellow Army have been enjoying things on the field, but there's a lot going on off the field as well. One of the big stories in the past month, of course, is the community share issue. You've mentioned the trust before, Mark. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how we've already hit the minimum target of 100,000, which is absolutely phenomenal. I think at the time of this is going out, it now stands at around about 141,000. Are you able to tell us about how you plan to deploy any of those funds that are going to be raised? Are you able to tell us any of that at all?
First of all, what an extraordinary response to the community share issue. I think beyond any of our expectations. We're really conscious of the fact that we live in an area that's not terribly affluent. We've asked fans to put their hands in their pockets for season tickets. Fans have put their hands in their pockets and bought merchandise from our shop in record numbers. And we know times are tough out there. And then to go back and ask our fan base again, you know, this is all over the last 8 weeks, again, to offer them an opportunity to invest in their football club. And the response that we've got from the 320 or so investors that have either put in £250 or £1,000 is extraordinary. And that speaks volumes for the commitment of our fan base. I think it speaks also to the trust that the fans now have placed in their supporters' trust. And we said from day one that we're fans too, and so we always felt that this should be a fan-led club, and we wanted to ensure that the fans' voices were heard and they had a real sense of ownership. And the community share issue was a way to do that, and it's extraordinary the way it's succeeded. Now, the funds raised for that, this is what the board, of which the supporters now have 2 members of the board, and we've got plenty of things in front of us to consider. So there is the football budget. Now, I think Neil and Paul, Mark will probably back this up because it's an area that he focuses on probably a bit more closely than I would, but Paul has deployed that budget brilliantly. I think his recruitment has been fantastic. We seem to have 2 players for every position. Even when we go through the rough and tumble of injuries, no one's fretting downstairs in Paul's office about the fact that Jordan Dyer might be out for 4 or 5 weeks or more, that we might pick up an injury that might see people out for a game, or we might have some suspensions, because we've got players that can cover those positions. And so I think that the use of that budget has been really good. But what the community share issue means that it puts some cash into the coffers, that when we assess where we are over the next few weeks in terms of the league table, and it offers the opportunity to further strengthen the team if required. Now, there's no indication from Paul or Neil right now that they feel that's necessary at the moment, but they're always looking. So there's the football operation. And then, look, in order for us, and it's been extraordinary, the 3,000 plus crowds that we have been having. I think we're averaging just a tad around 3,400. Our model, which we told everyone and told our supporters last Chairman's Chat, was that our base case was 2,400. So we're running ahead of that. And our assumption is we're not going to completely run ahead of that all through the season. But so far, so good. But we don't want to always rely on attendances maintaining that level. What we really need to do is fire up all our other revenue producing opportunities. So a lot of some of that capital will go into creating new revenue generating opportunities around the club, and that may include, for example, so we're sat in the Cove restaurant, which we renovated, and that is very much the engine room for our hospitality offer. We have all the suites down the corridor, which we've renovated, and we've launched a new hospitality programme. For that, we've created a new club in the Devonshire suite. But we are very mindful of the fact that Boots and Laces downstairs is almost a separate standalone business. If you take away match days, it's a loss-making business. We want to reverse that. We fear that we need to revamp the offer in Boots, and that's a project that we want to get to. The fundraising from the CSI might allow us to accelerate that. I think the whole theme of that is that there is some investment that we want to put into the infrastructure of the club that allows us to then present some revenue opportunities and for us to engage better with businesses around the Bay, turn this into a 365-day-a-year event venue. So in answer to your question, the additional funding that might come into our model through the community share issue will be deployed against some infrastructure improvements, some potentially earmarked for the football budget, but for others to strengthen both our resourcing here to get to new revenue opportunities.
Yeah, and I was just going to add, I mean, the work that Michael has done over the last 6 months with the trust, the support he's given them, the reassurance, we shouldn't dilute. There's a lot of work being done in the background, and Michael has done an amazing job with that. I wasn't surprised. I'm not surprised at how well the money's been raised in that at the moment. If you see some of the comments that Nick Broderick has said about him believing in the football club and the management and the consortium together, that actual relationship has blossomed superbly over the past few months. Something that we need to be wary of as owners of this football club is where this football club is going to be in 2-3 years' time. So the commercial opportunities of this football club have to be established. And therefore the money needs to be going to these areas, like we say, the hospitality and more of a 7-day week, etc. And if we are to go up and get promoted, and let's hope we do go up, and let's hope we get promoted again, maybe a few years afterwards, then the club has to have revenue streams to be able to support that playing budget. So that's what we're thinking about. We're not thinking about the now, the survival. We're thinking about the future, and that's why we're so excited about the results on the pitch at the moment, because if we're being honest, we didn't think everything would come together so quickly. We're not being like over the top about it. As I said, we're being pragmatic, but some of this trust money that comes through then will be able for us to expand on some of the playing staff maybe at Christmas if we need some support to push us up the league, and also to create those foundations in the football club to make this a real place of, you know, inhabitants of people to come for any business ventures. You know, we're talking about things like, you know, possibilities of parties here, training, you know, all sorts of conventions and things like that. So we have to create a football club as a proper business. business.
Michael touched upon the attendance there, averaging 3,400 off the first 4 games this season, which is astonishing. Not for many years have we had attendance that's like that, bearing in mind the level that we're playing at as well. Season ticket sales, worth mentioning that as well, around about the 1,600 mark. Another thing that the club has launched is in relation to fan feedback, has been the Flexi Ticket initiative. That's another illustration of how you're all listening to fans' feedback and how important that is to keep that coming.
Look, we're always going to listen to the fans. Communication has been one of the main words that's been used in all our chairman chats and all the time that we've, since we've had the investment in the football club. Clearly, pardon the pun, we have to be flexible with our supporters, their lifestyles and things like that, and it just makes sense to have that flexi ticket to give them the opportunity, to have a half-season ticket, etc., and be part of the football club. We don't want to discount any opportunity of fans coming into this football ground. Hence the reason for being able to come into the game on the night, etc., And everything's moving in the right direction. There's no reason whatsoever why we wouldn't do this kind of project. So yeah, it just makes practical sense really from that point of view.
And not forgetting that a very large part of our supporter base are what we call the Gulls exiles. So people like myself who grew up here, left at a certain point and lived in another part of the country, but still avid Torquay fans. Those that probably do more away games than home games, but probably still have families and friends down here that know that they will get to 5 or 6 games a year. Well, why wouldn't we reward that loyalty by giving them a partial season ticket and a flexi ticket? And also, look, we're trying to engage with new parts of our supporters base. There are 300,000 people that live in a TQ postcode. That's arguably our addressable market. And so the flexi ticket is almost like a try before you buy type thing, because we want to be able to help. As we said, if we want to build our supporter base up, we need to turn the casuals into regulars, the regulars into season ticket holders, and the flexi ticket is maybe a step on that journey. And it's kind of in the pocket, and it probably saves people close to about £3 per game if they buy a batch of 6. And I think, I'm not sure we're gonna go out with more communication on that, because we were discussing whether we thought our communication was clear enough. And I say, we learn along the way, and the beauty of having much deeper involvement with the supporter base through the Supporters Trust, where they will sit in our board meetings, they will make decisions with us as a board, allows us to get much closer to the needs and the wants of the supporter base. And as I said before, as long as we've got 2 ears, we'll use them in the right proportions, and we will try to listen and understand the needs of our supporters, and then try to deliver on that.
Now, as we're talking here at Plainmoor today, people have been asking quite a bit about some of the things that's going on, all the investment that's taking place in the club. You've only got to look outside the scaffolding up around and all over the place here at Plainmoor at the moment. You can see that improvements are being made. Some of them will be more expected than others, Mike. I'm sure you're going to tell us that. Can you tell us a bit about some of the things that you've had to get and tackle since you've been here?
Yeah, so look, when we acquired the football club, it was normally when you acquire any business, you do quite a lengthy period of due diligence where you properly look under the bonnet and try to assess what the cash needs will be, what the capital investment required. We had little, like a tiny window to do that, and of course things have come out of the woodwork. Now the reality is that despite the investment, the £1 million, you could argue was an investment in the club for 5 years, the infrastructure's been left and not touched really. And so what we found is, I'll give you a few examples. Our floodlights we need to change to LEDs, because every time we turn them on, a bulb goes. And every time a bulb goes, that's £650 just for the bulb. And so we need to move to a sustainable model. We need to get the floodlights fixed, but that's a £48,000 investment. But that needs to be done soon. The good news on that is that we can apply for some funding, and we're in the process of doing that with the football. Foundation, some other funds available to us. There were a few other areas which we talked about earlier, Dom, wasn't it? In terms of that require some investment on the capital side.
Yeah, a couple of other things that we will discuss about the CCTV.
Oh yeah,
Fixing various leaks, and another one, Mark, that obviously you've mentioned before, and it's about looking at the big screen, which is another one that a lot of supporters have been asking about.
And then, the CCTV, if we want to be up to the Safety Advisory Group standards, that's another £20,000 we need to upgrade the system, because the system is not fit for purpose right now. And then the big screen in the corner, that needs replacing. It's clinging on to life with its fingernails. It's very old technology, but you're talking another £30,000. So these are all capital projects which, aren't in the budget. At some point need to be executed on this season. Some we may be able to push into the end of the season. But these capital expenditures, so you're talking six figures probably cumulatively there, just to upgrade some of the infrastructure before it goes into any revenue generating opportunities. Although you could argue with the screen that allows us to do loads more, and that's a real good outlet, particularly on match days, that we could leverage. But yeah, so we've got to be mindful of that. We're about today. You can hear the rain hammering on the roof here. We've got leaks to fix here. The scaffolding's gone up because we're going to repaint the whole side of this stadium, but we're also going to try and fix the leaks, and let's hope that we can patch and mend rather than have to replace the whole roof. And then, so we've got leaks everywhere, and things to do, but and that's before we look at investing in the infrastructure to create more revenue opportunities. So we have to think those things through carefully.
I was going to say that we spoke about communication, and when we invested in the club, we started talking to sponsors, and some of our sponsors obviously do some work for us at Torquay United as well. So we've listened to them in terms of the electrical firms and sponsorship that we've had in terms of the floodlights and trying to get this sorted. We've looked about the side of the stadium and the painting, and we've had the support from the sponsors in that. So there's lots and lots of positivity. It's not just listening to supporters or listening to the trust, it's listening to those sponsors who've literally come in to a club that was struggling last season, put their money back into the club, they've seen the new ownership, and them saying, look, just to let you know, over the years we've been banging the door about the floodlights, we've been banging the door about this, the leakages, we've been banging the door about, there's this painting company who will come in and sponsor you, but will also paint the whole stadium for you and things like that. So we need to open up, and we need to look at those, possibilities and get these things done. And of course, as we've just said, the screen as well, it's criminal. If we really want to be a Football League club, we've got a Football League stadium, let's bring it up to that standard, and let's get these issues sorted. And that's what we're aiming to do. Of course, it's not a bottomless pit, but we're doing things the right way. We're doing well on the merchandise. We're doing well on the attendances. We're doing well on the sponsorship. We're doing well in all the things that we're doing at the club, making it efficient. So we just need to bring the money in for the trust and other areas and invest and make sure that we've got a really, superb football club ready for the next planned cycle of its life as such.
Mark, you seem super positive.
Yeah.
And it'd be very easy, you'd think, when these things come out of the woodwork and you don't expect this to be frustrated and negative about it, but it seems that you're always looking for a positive and an opportunities out of all of these.
I think when, I've been involved in business for the best part of 30 years, and I think when me and Michael were sitting in Wallen's offices and you're talking to the administrators and solicitors and you're looking for guarantees of this and that and everything, they're looking at you going, nope, nope, nope. And then I see how everyone has come together at this football club since the investment. How can you not be positive when you're, at the moment, second in the league? How can you not be positive when you see smiles on the faces of the staff? How can you not be positive when you see the supporters and attendances? How can you not be positive when literally wherever you walk within this football club, you have conversations with the trust or other people, Everything that we wanted from day one, everything that we wanted from that first chairman's chat has come true. So I'm very, very positive. I know there are going to be obstacles in the way. There are going to be more obstacles. I know we're going to get some dips and everything else. But at the moment, I say, I want to ride on that positivity, and I want to use it as a momentum for this football club for the next 8 weeks, or up to Christmas, yeah.
Michael, obviously going forward, there's obviously going to be, like you've already said, investment in a number of projects. There's also going to be a real focus on the commercial side of things and on the media output as well, isn't there?
Yeah, and that's the exciting thing, and something that I'm sure you're excited about. Personally, Dom, is as we think about the commercial side, it's all about improving the reach of our brand and our reach into our audiences that we're targeting. And so our media output is massively important to that. Our routes to market, particularly through social media channels, as we try and engage with different of our audience and attendee cohorts. And so that's the one big area that we're investing in and working with you and your team, and we've added to your team as well. We're going to be announcing some partnerships through your team, your function, Dom, which to really boost our output, particularly on YouTube. So fans will start seeing new elements of our match day treatments and the way we're going to slice and dice and deliver content, which will be good. I don't think I'm breaching any state secrets that we're going to launch a TikTok, and we're going to bring in some partners to work with us on that, which will be very exciting. And I think that this is all about raising the bar for us, and if we can improve our media output and our content output, those engagement levels will rise. That provides a vehicle and a ride-along opportunity for sponsors to ride on those vehicles and on that and that reach into our audiences. So that's really exciting opportunity in front of us.
I was just going to say as well, the other part of this is obviously we've spoken about our support, and if we look at season tickets, the kind of age of our support, obviously the modern day world on social media outlet, younger people, I think that we need to engage more with those younger people. I spoke at the fans forum and I said to them, we saw on Tuesday night the pop side, we know how passionate they are about this football club. Get involved in this football club more. We want you more involved in this football club. And of course, one of those ways of engagement is, of course, via social media outlets. So, yeah, as well as, extending out there and getting more supporters, it's about extending to that demographic of supporters, between the ages of, I don't know, whatever, children through to 30 years old. This is the way to actually capture them and bring them into the football club.
One more thing that we would there's so much to be enthusiastic about, but one more thing that's been launched in the last couple of weeks is the Flight Club. We're talking about Flight Club. Can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, so the Flight Club is effectively a business networking club. So we thought quite hard about how do we engage the thousands of businesses that operate in the TQ area in South Devon. And so Flight Club is as it sounds, it's a business club where companies can subscribe at various levels, and it will manifest itself in a number of events. So we'll have a monthly business networking breakfast in this room where we'll bring in speakers. Neil Warnock's going to do a leadership session, but we'll be bringing some of the great and good of the business world from the area to come and talk about very specific topics. And it'll be a network and a forum for businesses to interact with each other, and then packaged in with that is match day experiences and hospitality packages, etc. And so it's all about turning Plainmoor into an event venue. We're sat in a fabulous facility here that we want full every day with different types of events. So companies could come in here and hold training days or product launches or careers fairs. Or focus groups, for example. We want people to be able to use this venue. Remember, we've got the Cove, we've got the Suites, we've got the Goals Nest, we've got the Boots and Laces downstairs that can be used for parties and anniversaries and wakes, etc. But the Flight Club is a way to engage businesses that allows them to use the facilities, to attend events that we'll be running, to allow people to network and do business.
And it makes sense to do it now because the momentum that we've built in the football club already with the supporters and the sponsors means we're just laying another platform on there to say, look, we've got some great people around the Southwest and around Torbay, speakers and people who now are more willing to maybe come into the football club to do that, and also get people involved in buying into the flight club. And like Michael said, we do have a great matchday experience now. We have the suites, we have this restaurant. The buzz here on a match day is absolutely incredible, as you see. So it's the right time to launch that. And we've already had some very favourable comments and people who want to get involved in that. So, yeah, it sort of makes sense.
Torquay United fans have been for many years, without wanting to try and be controversial here, but been told for many years that need to look elsewhere, need to go to a different stadium. But from what you're both saying, it sounds like actually there's a lot to be proud of in this stadium here at Plainmoor.
Oh, exactly. We said that from day one, and one of the reasons why getting the trust involved and some of the caveats and some of the legalities of making sure that we can't move from this stadium without their support, etc. And we have to be pragmatic. We're in National League South, and we're getting amazing attendances, etc. We are doing our very best to get the best out of this stadium, not just on a Saturday and Tuesday, but all the way through the week. And we're going to do our best to try and get the best with our sponsors, and we owe it to them as well to offer them the very best facilities that we can afford to do within our investment. So it's all part of that type of marriage that I'm looking at the moment. We have a marriage with the football team, we have our family of supporters, we have our cousins who are the sponsors, everyone, we're all together as a family. And at the moment there's absolutely no reason why we'd want to move from this football club. It's important to this community, It's stationed right bang, an essential part of habitation of Torquay. We want it to be around here, And any questions about stadium movement or anything else like that have to be put on the back burner until this club is in a position.
But we we don't need to move from here. This is while Plainmoor's our spiritual home, and there's no reason why we need to move in the foreseeable. And if we need to move, it's for a really, really good reason. It's because we can't get 6,000. Yeah. We can't get the fans in here that want to come, and our capacity still is nearly 6,500. So, and if the point we think, damn, we need a bigger stadium, then we're probably in a very good place. But the key point, I've said this before, is one of the we need to sweat the assets here. We're sat in a fantastic building here that should be being utilised all the time. What's happened in the past is that the opportunity's not been exploited. And I think now what we're focused on is exploiting the opportunities of engaging with the community out there that should see this as a centre for business networking, a centre for community activities, a centre for celebrations, but also home to the largest professional sports club in South Devon. And I think if we get all of those bits right, this is one of the most important, and we still think it is already, but the most important community asset in the area. And interestingly, on that, we've got a meeting with the council. In a really important meeting with the council, a proper sit down to talk about Torquay United's role as one of South Devon's largest community assets, and how we can work with the council to really exploit the opportunities to mutual benefit, because they're also our landlords, and we want to be good tenants, but we also want to talk to them about that and about our long-term future, and how we can align resources that the council has on a number of areas. And we've not even talked in this meeting about community development programmes, the youth development programmes, and some of those activities that we want to get to and over the next few months. But the council meeting is going to be really important, because we get the sense, having talked to them, that the football club is not really engaged with them to any great extent over the last few years.
How can we promote this football club when holiday makers are here or people just come into Torquay? How can we get supporters outside the Torbay area to come back into the club, etc.? It's all those kind of ideas with the council working together. And quite how that will go, we don't know, but it's definitely worth investigating and seeing what we can do with that. Coming back to the stadium point, Plainmoor is the home stadium of Torquay United. there's no other reason apart from what we want: success on and off the pitch and people to be happy. No one's in this, as we said before, for any type of monetary element or anything. So there is no sort of reason, underlying reason, why we'd want to move from here or go anywhere else. You know, we want everything to, all the success to be on that pitch. You know, and as people know, I'm a key Liverpool supporter. They've never moved from Anfield. I want that to be the same at Torquay. When people come here in a few years' time and they come to Torquay and go, oh my God, don't want to go there. I'm like, you just feel it. You feel like they're going to score. You feel like the pop side are going to blow the ball in the net and all that kind of thing. Bring that optimism and everything back to the club, and that's what's important. So it's our spiritual home, and you know, any sort of conversations about movement of stadium or anything like that are, you know, years and years and years away, if ever can be, because we can do everything here. It's a different story from a commercial point of view if you were able to go into Division 1 and then you're thinking about how are we going to get the attendances to make the sort of revenues, and how are we going to get more out of our sponsors, but then how are we going to be able to pay a player this amount of money, you know what I mean? But then that's a different kind of, you know, question in terms of investment in the club. It doesn't necessarily mean that you move stadium either.
That sounds like a very interesting, maybe a nice problem to have.
Yeah, in the future.
In the future, but I think that's quite a nice way to sign off. So, Michael, thank you for joining us again, and we look forward to doing episode 3 next month.
Our pleasure.
Thanks, Tom.
Brilliant. Thank you.